A little more to the left.
Linnet and Nixie pushed and pulled respectively, and moved the long purple couch to the left, so it was a little more off to the center of the large painting against the wall. The end of the couch was just a couple of inches from the left corner, which made it more aesthetically pleasing. Linnet wasn't as knowledgeable about that sort of thing as Nixie or Alfreda were. Thank the light that they were taking more of a lead during this mission. At the moment, Linnet, Alfreda, and Nixie stood in the front office of a key building for their current mission. A chic mustard-colored rug was on the center of the floor, while the lavender-colored couch sat against the wall. A massive oil painting hung above the couch, and it was a whirlpool of dark colors, with flecks of gold swirling within the barely noticeable vortexes. 3 doors were in the room, one leading outside, one leading to the bathroom, and one leading to the back room, where the real magic would happen. Linnet's insides still rattled a little bit, but at least all of the interior designs took her mind off the larger, more imposing presence of their new boss. Days before, Linnet had explained what her sister Latifah had told her via magical message. During their very first staff meeting after coming back from their pseudo-vacation, the matter was brought up.
Ma'am, I would like to discuss something before we proceed any further.
By all means, please speak your mind.
Marika laced her fingers together and rested them on the desk in front of her. The smile on her face was wide and inviting, and yet the woman's eyes didn't quite match the pleasantness of the smirk. An old and wild fierceness still thrived in the Citadel commander's soul, and up till now, aside from the fight with Cyrene, it had been contained. The brief conflict between she and their previous boss was only a mere sliver of what perhaps lingered behind the beguiling shimmer of veneers.
We have done some background checking on you, ma'am, and frankly, we're all a little concerned.
Concerned? Why? Whatever for?
We know all about your previous posts, and, how many of your staff died during missions during your tenure.
Marika gave a slight chuckle, and she stood up from the chair behind the desk. With all the confidence in the world, she stepped around the desk and then leaned on the front of it. Her eyes danced on each operative.
Yes, I will admit I was much more brazen in my youth. But in all your research, did you also see that I had a 20-plus stint where I wasn't assigned anywhere?
We saw that, ma'am.
Once again, Marika laced her hands together, and she placed them in front of her lap. Her blue eyes went out of focus for only a moment, and her smile diminished slightly.
I went through a lot of therapy and soul-searching on my forced retirement. As I stepped away from the industry as a whole, I began to consider the true worth and the true price of my ambition. Yes, I was effective, but at what cost? I am not the same Marika. Nor am I the same person who earned the title of Grim Commander.
There was a brief silence before she stood up from the desk, but remained within arm's reach of Linnet and the others.
Yes, I've done things I'm not proud of. However, this posting will be a new start for me. I promise I'm not going to risk your lives needlessly. But I'm not going to lie to you. We will have a serious fight on our hands. These Sparkle Guardians are very strong.
Yeah, they've beaten us many times. We almost had them. One time.
Yes, I read that in the reports. You all did very well. It was just the devil's luck that they all got power-ups in that exact moment. I can't tell you how often that happens in the business. It's annoying.
We read about how you defeated a ton of magical boys during a war.
Yes, I did. And we will defeat the Sparkle Guardians when the time is right. For now, I have a super special mission that I want all 3 of you to do.
Oh? What's the mission?
You 3 are going to open a modeling agency!
Hello? Linnet!
Linnet blinked her eyes for a moment. She gazed at her friends. Nixie beamed an amused expression at her, while Alfreda was much more judgmental.
You okay?
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I was just thinking about... Well, it's not important.
You're still worried about Marika, aren't you? I can't blame you. I still don't know what to think.
Well, I like her. She gave us a raise and more appreciation, and
You only like her because it's more stressful not to trust her.
Okay. Guilty. I'd rather not think about how she may or may not be a staff killer. Thinking about it will make me anxious and will affect the mission.
Oh, well, yes, that is a good point. I'm trying to keep myself distracted, but it is hard.
I'm not saying let your guard down, but I am saying give her a chance.
You're right. I mean, she's already better than Cyrene.
I'll say. The budget increase and the more autonomy is pretty sweet, but I don't quite trust her either.
Elvinia walked through the front door, and she carried a large duffel bag. She was dressed in casual clothing, which was somewhat jarring as she wasn't wearing her lab coat.
Whoa, someone's dressed down today.
Don't remind me. Marika said not to wear our lab coats in human form, as it might be too noticeable for the concealed enemy. I feel naked.
Elvinia paused, and then she glanced over her shoulder toward the front door. At the moment, no one walked past or looked inside. Elvinia's mouth straightened, and while it didn't form a frown, it was not a welcoming facial expression at all.
Did Marika explain what you were supposed to do during this mission?
Linnet's stomach dropped into her knees, and based on the other girls' expressions, they also brought the point of the mission to the forefront of their minds. When Marika had first explained what she planned for them to do, well, Linnet couldn't quite believe it. Yes, she had heard about dark missions, and she was well aware that the old Marika had led some messed up plans. But this was far darker than anything Linnet and the others had done before, while under Cyrene's supervision.
Yes, we know. Or at least we have a rudimentary understanding. I take it that you're going to tell us more about what to do.
Yeah. Let me be frank, I don't like this level of anom extraction. It puts too much stress on the host, regardless of how effective the techniques are.
At least it's not gonna kill them.
Yes, at least it won't do that.
Elvinia walked into the back room, and Linnet followed her. Nixie and Alfreda stayed in the front room, and they whispered something to one another that Linnet didn't quite catch. Once they were free from the others, Linnet frowned deeply.
Hey, it's going to be all right. It's like Nixie said, it won't kill them. We're going to ensure that.
I know, it's just that... Is this what it means to be an operations operative? Is this what my family went through?
Yeah, pretty much. The whole objective is to get Anam Energy for Nymphia. Any way you can.
Linnet stopped in place, and a moment later, Elvinia placed a hand on her shoulder.
Hey, there's no shame in quitting if this isn't for you. I mean, I couldn't do what you do. That's why I'm an arcanist, and not an operative.
I'm not ready to quit. Yet. Do you need help setting up the draining chambers?
Yeah. Let me take them out of my bag.
Wow. It was an impossibly beautiful day today. The sun felt amazing on Dana's skin, and she closed her eyes as absolute pleasure conquered her conscious mind. If only she had someone to share the day with, but the only person who caught her eye happened to be someone who just didn't catch feelings for anyone. That was the story of Dana's life. always being in the eyes of others, but never quite being the one for those she found attraction with. To be fair to Frankie, it was just the way they were wired. Frankie was an amazing friend, and despite the fact that Dana would never feel that spark of amazing romantic love, she certainly gained immense amounts of support and encouragement from Frankie. That was enough. Dana leaned against a waist-high stone wall near a park, and a large willow tree was just off to the right, about 10 feet away. The height of the tree was just enough to conceal Dana beneath a shaded section, although beams of sunlight still zipped between the leaves and kissed Dana's hands, arms, and face.
Excuse me, but you're beautiful. You have such wonderful features.
Dana opened her eyes and beheld the speaker, a dainty female, a couple of inches shorter than she was. She had short blue hair, a pair of brown eyes, and an outfit that looked cool. She wore a pair of leather boots, a black cotton dress, and a black beret on her head, tilted to the side. She carried a high-tech camera in her hands, with a collar strap attached to it. She had a camera bag at her side.
Oh, thank you.
You would be perfect. Hi there. My name is Noreen, and I am a photographer for a new modeling agency that just opened up in an office in town.
A modeling agency? Really?
Yes. We are a new agency, and we're wanting to capture a different sort of person to show the world another appreciation of beauty. You are a working girl, aren't you?
Yes. I'm a server at a restaurant, just working my way through college.
Wait, do you work at Anthony's?
Wow, how did you know?
Oh, I've been there before. Maybe that's why you stood out. You looked familiar. Anyway, we're looking for new models to sign. Could I please take your picture?
You want to take my picture?
Yes, I do.
Do you by chance have a business card?
Without flinching, the young woman named Noreen pulled out a business card from the camera bag. The card was thick, matte, and had a flowing font with the image of a woman sitting on a lotus. It said Nymph's Visage Modeling Agency, and it had a phone number, a website link, and an address on the front of the card.
Wow, Nymph's Visage. That's a cool name.
Yes. I think it encapsulates the spirit of our agency well. So, may I take a few more pictures of you? I'll send them to your email address for free, and if you want to work with us, you can come by the office to sign contracts.
Are you really sure I'm what you're looking for?
Oh, don't be like that. You're quite lovely.
Okay. So, where do you want me?
How about you do what you were doing when I first saw you? You were basking in the sun. Start out with your eyes closed, and then I'll give you directions.
Dana leaned back once more, and she closed her eyes. Her stomach scrambled within her, going in multiple directions. The sound of camera shutters closing and opening sent maddening spikes throughout her nerves. And she took a deep breath.
Yes, just like that. Let's get a couple more shots, and then let's do some other poses.
Dana ended up doing many more poses, and for the better part of an hour, she moved and gestured how the woman named Noreen requested of her. Once she was all done, Noreen showed Dana the pictures on the display screen of the camera.
Is that really me? No way.
Of course. That's you. I'm telling you, you're exactly what my agency is looking for. You're just projecting a kind of powerful aura. Take my card and think about it, okay?
Okay.
Noreen asked for Dana's email address and then sent her the pictures. They parted ways, and Dana couldn't help but marvel at how lightheaded and giddy she felt. It was almost unnatural, as if she was bombarded with happy energy. Dana pulled out her phone and sent a text.
You'll never guess what. A modeling agency wants me to drop by their studio.
Wow, really? That's awesome! How did this happen?
I was just chilling out at the park and this photographer saw me. She took some pictures of me, check it out.
Dana copied the photos from her email app on her phone, then pasted them into the text. In total, she only sent 3 of the 25 photos that were sent to her.
Wow. You look amazing. In that light, your features really stand out.
For a single fleeting moment, Dana pondered what sort of response to send. In lieu of a flirty retort, she simply sent,
Thank you. I'm going to sleep on it, but I might go by their office tomorrow.
You should. I'm so happy for you.
Here's their business card in case I get murdered, LOL.
Dana took a picture of the card, then sent it to Frankie. Before she could even hit send, Frankie's response was lightning quick.
That's not funny. Did you get a bad feeling or something?
I was just kidding. I'm sure it will be fine.
Okay, be safe. If you need anything, you call or text me, okay?
I will. TTYL.
As Dana slipped her phone into her purse, she couldn't help but smile widely.
My hero. Always ready to come to my rescue.
That night, Dana didn't get much sleep, as the thoughts of Nymph's visage kept prancing around in her mind's eye. What kind of place was it going to be? Was there going to be money tied to gigs? If there were contracts, there had to be money, right? What sort of ads or projects would her likeness be used for? It was exciting, and she managed to finally get some sleep sometime after midnight. The next morning, she went to the address on the card. The Nymph's Visage office was located in a quiet part of town, far from other similar businesses. It was a one-story yellow brick building with a dark wooden roof. A set of double doors welcomed visitors, and Dana saw people inside the office. Her heart skipped a beat as she took steps toward the front door. She pushed the door open and went inside. So far, so good. Linnet walked between the 12 large egg-shaped pods, and she glanced at the magical indicator panels on the lower front sides, right beside the oval glass pane. Nestled inside each of the large pods were the humans they had tricked, all asleep, locked in a sort of dream dimension of their own creation. What did those humans see for themselves? Elvinia hadn't designed any means of seeing what they saw. Linnet hoped they were all having pleasant dreams, at least. The indicator panels specified the person's name, their overall health and vital levels, and most importantly, how much Anam energy they were draining from them. Small needles and tubes were hooked into the humans' arms and legs via their veins. Ventilator devices were attached to the humans so they wouldn't suffocate within the draining chamber. The needles and tubes glowed with luminescence as Anam energy, in its purest form, was pulled from their bodies. Linnet was left alone to watch the humans in the back, while Nixie and Alfreda traded off, going out into the public to lure more humans into their trap. She had been grateful when they had given her the easier of the jobs, for Linnet couldn't imagine lying to a hopeful person's face, knowing that they would meet this fate. One of the terminals at one of the pods at the end of the line started flashing red, and so Linnet ran over to it. She read the panel. Name, Dana. Body condition, warning. Anam energy threshold, critical. Anam energy output, 20 out of 100. Linnet pressed a couple of buttons on the terminal, and suddenly a green light tinted the inside of the egg, casting the human inside in the same illumination. The needles and tubes pulled from her body, and the interior filled with a liquid that almost resembled water. As soon as it did, the vitals information started to stabilize to better levels. Had the draining process continued lower, the human would have died. Elvinia mentioned that it was important that the Anam energy output not reach 15 over 100.
You won't die under my watch. None of you.
Another egg pod that had been filled with liquid started beeping. Linnet walked over to it and checked the Anam energy output, which was back up to 100 out of 100. She let out another heavy sigh before switching the pod's function from revive back to drain. The green liquid was pulled from the pod, and the needles and tubes were plunged back into the human's arms and legs. As soon as Frankie walked into the dining area, they noticed the absence once more, like a jarring and silent but present roar. Frankie stopped in the doorway and then gazed all around at the serving staff. The noticeable signs of stress and short-handedness flashed on their faces, and Frankie's stomach jostled from side to side. They walked up to one of the other servers and waved them down.
Hey, does Dana work today?
She was supposed to, but she no-called no-showed again for the second day in a row.
Second time? But that's not like her!
Rather than answer, the male server just resumed his duties and moved toward the newest table of patrons. Frankie walked outside, for the interior of the restaurant was stifling. They took in a deep breath, and then they pulled out their cell phone. You'll never guess what. A modeling agency wants me to drop by their studio. Wow, really? That's awesome. How did that even happen? I was just chilling out at the park, and this photographer saw me. She took some photos of me. Check it out. Wow, you look amazing. In that light, your features really stand out. Thank you. I'm going to sleep on it, but I might go by their office tomorrow. You should. I'm so happy for you. Here's their business card in case I get murdered. LOL. That's not funny. Did you get a bad feeling or something? I was just kidding. I'm sure it will be fine. Okay, be safe. If you need anything, you call or text me, okay? I will. TTYL. Too bad that TTYL never came. Frankie's eyes drifted up to the business card picture, and then they pressed their thumb on it. A wild sickness nearly crawled up from their throat, and they had to bite their lip to avoid from letting it free into the world. Nymph's visage. Why didn't they see it before? If they had. Oh Lord, if they had! Tears welled in their eyes, and they started typing across the keyboard. Dana, please call me now. It was a fruitless effort, but it came as no surprise when there wasn't a response. Much to their expectation, when Frankie called Dana's phone, it went right to voicemail. He began typing to the special text group. Tyler Nicholas, Dana is in trouble. Nymphian trouble. Please, get to the address on the bottom of this business card as quickly as you can. If you're not there by the time I get there, I'm going in without you. Frankie ran hard down the street. Dark fantasies of horrid ends and macabre imagery flared before their eyes. Why didn't they offer to go with Dana? Why did they let this happen? Tears started to trail down Frankie's cheeks, but they pushed the sadness away. No, sadness was the last thing that Frankie needed. A massive storm of fury billowed up inside them, and they ducked into an alley within sight of the address on the card. It was a single-story yellow building with a brown roof, far from any similar businesses or storefronts. That was the MO, or the way of operating, for those damn Nymphians. How could they do something like their regular schemes to Dana? Yes, she flirted with Frankie, but at the core of her character, Dana was a sweet and wonderful friend. As soon as Frankie was out of sight, they drew their golden drachma from their pocket and held it above their head.
So sparkling power!
Lightning flashed all around them, and trumpets of thunder crackled around Frankie. Their clothing changed, and the mighty javelin of lightning appeared at their fingertips. They sprinted away from the alley and moved toward the entrance of the modeling agency. From the corner of their eye, they saw someone running down the street, although they couldn't tell if it was Tyler or Nicholas. There was no time, and to be honest, it might be too late. Without saying a word, Sparkle Guardian Zeus kicked the door open and then leapt inside. There were a half-dozen people in the lobby, all sitting on couches. They all looked at Sparkle Guardian Zeus, quite strangely. One of them, however, did something quite interesting. They stood up, breathed into what looked like a vape pen, then exhaled a massive cloud of green smoke. The smoke filled the room, and the humans screamed. When they breathed in the smoke, they collapsed on the ground. Sparkle Guardian Zeus threw their javelin against the wall and created a massive hole where before bricks existed. Sparkle Guardian Poseidon and Sparkle Guardian Hades entered through the front door.
Holy crap! You didn't wait after all, bruh!
The woman who breathed the vape ran into the back room, while the others who were not unconscious ran out through the front door, or through the hole in the wall. Green smoke started to seep out through it and lessen.
Get them out of here! I have to find Dana!
Sparkle Guardian Zeus ran to the back room. They came to a large opened space that had a curtained wall sectioning off most of the room. In front of it was a paltry photography setup, and they rushed through the curtain wall. They stopped in their tracks. A dozen or more large egg-shaped pods formed 2 rows, and between them stood 3 Nymphians. One of them was the infamous Vape Magician. The second was the Clay Soldier Nymphian. And the last was the Songstress. A dozen or so soldiers stood in other parts of the room, and they started to advance on Sparkle Guardian Zeus. Sparkle Guardian Zeus reared back their javelin, but one of the Nymphians held out their hands.
I wouldn't do that if I were you. You could miss and hit one of the pods.
We have not killed them, but if you accidentally hit one of them, you probably will.
You all are monsters! What are you doing to them?
None of your business, Sparkle Dork. The only thing you need to be concerned with is that if you want the...
A massive stream of water barreled through the curtain wall and struck the Vape Magician hard enough they tumbled back over.
Well, then we'll have to aim carefully, won't we?
Both Sparkle Guardian Poseidon and Sparkle Guardian Hades ran through the curtained barrier. At the same time, the clay golems rushed the trio. As Sparkle Guardian Zeus got into the rhythm of dodging, weaving and stabbing with their javelin, they took note. The Vape Magician didn't get back up, but she merely moaned and held her chest. The Songstress was at her side, singing some kind of soft song. Meanwhile, the mother of the clay golems directed them with fierceness. Still, they were the Sparkle Guardians, protectors of the innocent and warriors of light. Poseidon and Hades clobbered the clay golem, while Zeus proceeded to lightning bolt them from a distance. A smile appeared on Zeus's face as the last clay golem crumbled. A gigantic metal golem rose up from the ground like a specter. It was strange, but even the Nymphian who controlled the clay soldiers seemed surprised.
Suck on this!
Poseidon sent a massive, powerful stream of water toward the metal golem's body. Only, it merely splashed against its chest. Zeus threw a lightning bolt at it, and while it did explode, it merely made the massive golem stumble back a single step.
Okay, this is new. Since when can she make metal ones?
She can't, but I can.
Another Nymphian stepped out from behind one of the egg chambers, and she grinned from ear to ear. She had pale white skin, red hair, and a pair of blue eyes. She wore a red pantsuit and had a jeweled rapier in one hand.
Who the hell are you?
I'm the reason you're all going to die one day!
The rapier-wielding Nymphian charged through the legs of the metal golem with incredible speed toward Poseidon. Her rapier twirled about, and had Poseidon not parried with his trident when he did, the Nymphian would have impaled his chin. The golem jumped toward and punched at Hades. It missed, but it reacted quickly that it dodged under Zeus's lightning bolt. The massive golem pivoted and then leapt through the air like a metal ballerina. It landed beside Zeus and then kicked out hard. The metal shin caught Zeus in the chest, and they went flying. Pain rocked every inch of Zeus's body, and it tripled when they slammed into the solid wall. A moment later, the golem's iron fingers clasped around Zeus's neck. Hades punched and kicked at its legs and thighs, yet the metal golem stared into Zeus's eyes with an empty soul. Poseidon screamed out as the Nymphian stabbed him in the collarbone with the tip of the rapier. Before Poseidon could react, counter, or even fall over in pain, the Nymphian flipped over to where the other Nymphian, the one who typically controlled clay golems, stood. The new Nymphian snapped, and the iron golem let go of Zeus and moved over to stand beside its master.
Just so we're clear, I'm letting you live. In fact, I'll even leave your precious humans alive. I got all I needed. My name is Marika, and the next time we meet face to face, you all will die. Bye!
A massive flash blinded the area for a moment. Then the Nymphians were gone. Sparkle Guardian Zeus ran for the pods.
Oh God, Dana, please open your eyes!
One moment before, she was bathed in a strange sea of warmth. It wasn't that comfortable or soothing. As she knew something was off, Dana just couldn't figure out what. For a while, her entire world was shaking and swirling, as if she were standing in the midst of a scary storm. Then, for a little while, she would be trapped within a thick and unfriendly haze. However, now, the air cooled her naked skin, like the sweet breeze of the ocean. Her eyes fluttered, and then they came into focus. A figure clad in golds and yellows stood before her, with a lightning bolt javelin in their hands. Dana smiled.
Frankie? I knew you'd come for me.
The one who went by Sparkle Guardian Zeus stepped back with wide eyes and a slightly quivering mouth. As her vision returned to her clearer, Dana noticed the other two staring at her. Based on the fact that neither one was wearing a mask, even with Nicholas wearing a helmet, they were easy to pick out. Tyler had a ripped physique, while Hades had a set of square and solid shoulders. Hell, Dana had been their consistent server for many years. She recognized them easily. It was funny, but Dana couldn't see their faces, as some magic coated them like pixelated images, censored for their obscenity.
I'm sorry, you're mistaken. I'm not who you think I am.
Sparkle Guardian Zeus reached in and took Dana's hand to help her out of the pod. As soon as they touched, another piece of evidence fell into place. Dana smiled. Sparkle Guardian Hades took off his coat and offered it to her. She took it gingerly.
Thank you, Nicholas.
But I'm not Nicholas. I don't even know a Nicholas.
She stumbled a bit as her body was still half asleep. Sparkle Guardian Zeus held on to her. Just having their touch against her bare skin, it was like a tormenting dream of something she would never have. How cruel life could be.
I saw you transform like 4 years ago. I know it's you.
The Sparkle Guardians, or rather her dear friends, glanced toward one another, and a moment of silence lingered between them.
You saw us?
Yeah. Remember when Nicholas left his cell phone behind and I gave it to you the next day? Well, you all left so quickly that I followed you into the alley and then I saw.
Once more they were silent. Dana planted her bare feet against the stone and wrapped the leather jacket around her more snugly. Ever so slowly, her strength began feeding back into her from some unknown place.
You three, you're all so amazing. You keep on saving us from whatever those people were, and no one really knows about it. No one thanks you for constantly protecting us. So, thank you. Thank you so much.
Dana.
I knew as soon as those bogus modeling agency women attacked me that you would come to save me. You're not only my heroes, but the whole city's heroes. You all are so special. And I promise that I'm going to help you in any way I can. You don't have to bear the burden all alone. No matter what, I'll always stand with you.
What's going on?
Whoa!
Dana?
Dana glanced down, and her skin shimmered with a lime green light. However, as soon as she saw it, she didn't have any fear. The opposite, in fact. A surge of enveloping and caressing warmth blossomed inside her. A bead of light appeared in front of her, perhaps the size of an apple. and the light pulsated with a lime green illumination.
No way!
What is that? What's going on?
A beautiful voice rippled on the air, one that enchanted the blossoming within Dana's soul.
You wish to stand with them against the forces of evil and darkness. I can grant you that power if you really want it. Will you safeguard the land, protect the people who live upon it, and ensure that the children of today will be able to reap a bountiful future? Do you swear to uphold the tenets of a Sparkle Guardian?
Yes, I promise. I will protect this world and stand with them until my dying breath.
The shimmering bead of light faded, and a single item floated in the middle of the air between the four of them. A golden coin with the image of an opened flower on the front and back.
Take my token, call my name, and be my champion!
Dana reached forward and clutched the golden drachma. She held it above her head as tears continued to roll down her chin.
Demeter Sparkling Power!
A spiraling field of green energy lifted Dana up, surrounding her with leaves and petals. Her body shimmered with a bright light, and the dark jacket fizzled away. Glistening clothing replaced the light. Green and white ankle boots covered her bare feet. Opaque green leggings hid her legs, and a white sleeveless tunic covered her chest. Green leather bracers decorated her arms, and a belt of golden wheat circled her waist. A slender golden staff with a blooming rose at the top appeared in her hand. When the light faded, she was back with the other Sparkle Guardians.
I can't believe it. You're one of us!
Welcome to the team!
Thank you, everyone. I won't let you down.
Wait a frickin' second. Where's my jacket?
Oops, I'm sorry.